Welcome back, everybody. And today we have the beautiful Mr. Retro Ralph with us.
Hey, countdowns are so lame, Jade. Why do you still use those?
I don't know. I try to steer away from it, but I need views and subs, and I want to be like everybody else.
I'm just kidding. I actually think it's cool because it gets people time to come on. You know, what I mean, they get their little alert and then they can go get a drink or something and then come on. I think it's good.
Right,
But,
right.
you know, thanks for
Yeah.
having me, by the way. It's kind of
No,
like a casual impromptu thing, so I
thank
appreciate
you
it.
for coming on. Well, we've
Yeah,
talked about it for a while, but it's
it's
just
been a
been a
while.
matter of like scheduling.
I know.
Um, so yeah, I mean a lot is like I feel like a lot has happened in like the last what month and a half kind of.
A ton has happened. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been kind of crazy, actually.
right, right.
We've got a complaint in the chat from Zohar saying the volume is low on both, but I don't know. I'm not seeing hearing that on my end, but
Okay, hold on, is your volume low on your device, Zohar? Just kidding. Okay, hold on, let's see if this is better. All right, is that better? Ralph, go ahead.
hello, check one,
We're
two.
checking the audio.
I think it's good. I don't know. I think it's good, but
Okay.
you don't want to upset Zohar because then
No,
you'll
no.
get 100 clips of this show, and
Yeah,
then you don't want to do that.
he's gonna make us look like
I'm happy.
idiots.
All right, yeah. So a ton has happened. Yeah, there's like a ton, and in general, like because we've been talking a lot about a bunch of stuff. So yeah, there's like so much.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Here, you can read it, and thank you for the super chat, Ezekiel.
Hey guys. Thanks Ezekiel for the super chat. Appreciate it. That was a weird one. I haven't done it in a while. I
Yeah,
gotta
no,
get
you
warmed
come
up.
on, come on, like let's do it. Like you're making content right now. Give it to me.
Hey guys. Welcome back.
Yeah, there
It's
we
so
go.
weird. That was like a weird thing I did one time and then I kept doing it and I just kept doing it. I don't know. Now I don't do it as much. Now it's like a special thing. You know, it's like you get sick of your own stuff, you
Oh,
know?
that is true. Sometimes I look at my content and I'm like, ugh, why did you do that? You need to stop doing that. um, okay, wait. So first things first. I really want to ask you. You had like a New Year's resolution for 2023.
Oh, you're such a jerk. You're gonna go right to that? That's messed up. Sorry, what are you saying? What are you asking me?
Okay, wait, no, we can actually save that
You
because
can you can go. It's fine. I'm okay with it. Let's just go. It's fine. I'll admit it right away. This way we get it out of the way. Because I screwed up.
okay, but first I want to address the title really, which which is that you're going back to the 3/4 scale and doing mod videos and stuff like that because you're really into the idea of owning one ups and having a one up game room, right?
Wait, what? You're saying I'm going back to? Shut up. No.
Okay,
No. No.
no. But seriously, so we're kind of like actually I'm very clickbaity. I kind of clickbaited with the title of this, but I think
Yeah.
like the big thing that I kind of wanted to get into with it was just that like Ralph, when you started off, like you were huge, obviously, into the like 3/4 scale scene and like modding. And you did like a lot of cool stuff. Like, I mean, putting like real PCBs and one ups and stuff like that during the shark fin era. And,
Yeah.
you did a lot of like just really experimental, like tinkery stuff. And then you really moved into to coin ops. So one up was like the gateway to coin ops, so to speak. And I'm just like I just kind of like wanted to rehash that a little bit with you
Okay.
and like what really pushed you into coin ops? Like what was the thing that like just pushed you over the edge and you were just like that was it?
Okay. Well, this should actually resonate with almost anybody if you still collect them. So if you still collect them, then this is going to be no surprise to you. So like I was doing all those mods and everything, and it started with the first Street Fighter 2 cabinet, and that was 2018. These things were like $300, right? It was like, to me, they were blank canvases. It was like, cool. It's like something that's kind of cheap that I can do whatever I want with. So I don't think I ever really bought it with the intention of using it for the purpose it was intended for. Because at that time, the emulation, everything was like kind of just crappy. Like
Yeah.
everything about it was crappy.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything. There wasn't really anything good about it. And to make matters worse, when I bought mine, they were out of risers. So imagine I had an empty room in my house and I put a Street Fighter 2 on the floor in that empty room with no riser. It was like, oh, someone's saying it's loud as shit now. So maybe we should go back to where it was a little bit. Yeah, so I'll just keep going while you do that. But yeah, so I had this empty room with this riserless one up, and I was like, kind of at that moment was like, what am I doing? Like, what is this thing? Like, these aren't cool. Like, it wasn't cool. It was cool. Well, you know when you convince yourself something's cool? Have you
Yeah.
done that before? Like,
Yeah.
you convince yourself. So I kind of convinced myself it was cool. Then I got the riser, and then it got a little cooler for me. But what pushed me over the edge was fast forward, and we're like almost 2.5, 3 years into it, right? From 2018 on. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just see how much money I've spent on these things. And there was two factors. One was I'd walk into that room and I wasn't satisfied. I was like, something's not clicking. Like, I wanted this to itch this nostalgia bug of owning my own arcade or having my own arcade in my house. And I was falsely telling myself that it was satisfying that desire, right? It definitely was not. So
Mm-hmm.
that was part one. And then part two was like, let me add up what I've spent. Now, keep in mind, I wasn't adding up just the cabinet cost. It was everything I put into it. So anything I modded. And when I did that, that was like a holy shit moment. I was like, imagine, and I thought to myself, imagine the arcade I could have built had I done it with real arcade cabinets, all this money I just spent.
Yeah.
And that was like, and I literally went and posted all of them on like OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace like within the week after that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we can get into that later because there was a guy that bought like almost all of them.
Oh, wow.
So in one lot, like he bought the whole thing,
That's
modded cabinets
crazy.
and everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How much?
It lost so much money. It wasn't a lot. It was like,
Oh, okay. You don't have to say if you don't want. I was.
the thing was, so will say this. Sometimes I'll do stupid financial things when I want something gone away. Like I
Yeah.
just wanted it out,
I feel
and
like
it was like one of
all
those things where I
collectors
had
do that though, right?
100%. I agree with you. If you're collecting anything, you've had that moment, or maybe you haven't yet, but you will at some point. And I just wanted it out. And I thought to myself, okay, I could do this for like 6 months and sell them individually to a bunch of people. But when this one guy came forward, he's like, look, my son, this is kind of cool actually. And the guy still sells them in Phoenix. His son got into, like, he was younger then. His son got into modding cabinets and he wanted to mod them and sell them. But it was weird because he was influenced by his dad who liked retro arcade games. So he had an interest. He wasn't just doing it to like do it. He actually liked the games.
Right.
And so he started modding them and selling them. And so this was like his batch that he could use for like to start his business basically. It was pretty cool actually if
Yeah.
you think about it.
That is cool.
But it wasn't a lot of money. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but it wasn't good.
Okay.
I'll say that. It wasn't a lot.
Okay.
I lost my ass on it. Let's just say that.
Okay. So that brings up an interesting point though, like just for as far as where that market is at right now, because I thought the same thing. I think after I modded my first one, which was the Street Fighter 2. And, I think with the mod kit and then a coin door and just all the stuff, light up marquee, it ends up coming out to around like, I don't know, $700-800 maybe. And
You're going based on current prices, right? You're going based on the prices they are now, not the prices they were then, right?
well, I'm comparing. So when
Okay.
I
All right.
first started, like in 2019 or whatever it was, I bought the Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition one. And I was like you, like I
Okay.
got it and I was like, okay, this is like really cool, like it's neat, right, for $300 or whatever it was. I think it was a little
Yeah.
bit less than that. And then I got a riser for it, and my kids played it and stuff, and I was like, yeah, the emulation is like terrible, the screen sucks, blah blah blah. By the time you end up fixing all that stuff, putting a coin door on it, getting a better screen, putting a marquee on it that lights up, better joysticks, whatever it was at the time, like a pie. Um, I think I spent like around $800 total on that cab, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah.
So, which is the interesting thing about where the market is now is that they have like these much better designs. Going into like the deluxe cabs for about $500, you get a lit marquee, a coin door, and a better screen. It's still 17 inches, but it's a better screen. Better joysticks, and then like obviously like the cabinet design itself is better and it's uniform now. So and that's $500. So when you think about like the amount of money that it costs to take like the old ones and get them where you wanted, it's significantly higher to mod a one up. And it is a waste of money, in my opinion, to mod one ups, especially now. But it's a waste of money, in my opinion, to mod them because of what you said. Like at that point, you could be looking into actually getting like a full size coin op and stuff. Now, with that being said, like there is like all the maintenance and like restoration that
Hmm.
may go with the coin op. And so that's like a whole nother can of worms that we could open. But I guess my point is just that back then, it was like, yeah, it wouldn't have made sense, and that would push you to get into coin ops, which is kind of what pushed me as well in some ways, was when I looked at there's no point in modding these. Like you might as well buy a multicade kit or
100%.
do something like that. Like if you're gonna buy one of these, you should be buying it just for what it is and no other reason, is the way that I look at it now. Like if you're gonna buy a one up, you should be buying it specifically for the reason that it is whatever game it is, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
like for example, I'm not going to buy a Fast and Furious or Ridge Racer to put a buy stuff store mod in it, which is like another what, $300-400 or something. And it's
I don't
like,
know what it costs, but
but so
yeah.
at that point you're spending $1,000 when you can get an actual coin op racer easily for anywhere from $400 to $1,000. So it's like,
You brought
it's
up a good point though there. And I've never really I've never tried to entertain this conversation too much because I feel like it should just be assumed, but maybe it's not. Like I know there are a lot of people that will make this argument like, oh, well, if you're going to spend that much, then get the real one. But like I've never come forward and been like that's an equal thing because there's to your point, you said it, but there is like you could literally buy a used classic arcade game and it could work when you put it into your truck and you load it up, and when you get home it could be broken. So
right,
like I I always want to be forthcoming that it's not an easy transition. Like it has to be, to me, the person that mods these and has that curiosity and like wants to tinker, then they would really dig the hobby, because if they already enjoy modding and tinkering with things, then the real arcade hobby is exciting because something's always breaking or something always needs to be fixed. I shouldn't say always. Once you have it like pretty dialed in and you know what you're doing,
right,
like
right,
they can run for a long time. But
yeah,
if you have no interest in that, then you should never buy a real arcade game. Like in my mind, if you have no interest in like fixing it when it breaks, or you're delusional and don't realize it's gonna break, like don't do it, because you are gonna be unhappy with that purchase. Because maybe it doesn't happen today, maybe it doesn't happen tomorrow. 6 months down the road, you turn it on, the screen's dead, or the board dies, or that does happen. So you have to like that, to me, to get into the original arcade collecting stuff.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that it's literally for a hobbyist. Like there is no way that
Yeah.
I could tell somebody who just, let's just say just like an average person who watches like one up streams because they're like, well, I own one ups and this is so fun to watch the stream because everybody else does too. We like, and then goes and sees a stream where somebody's like, one ups, are stupid, they're a waste of money, blah. And then that person's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I think I need to sell all my one ups and buy a real arcade. And then they buy a real one and they're like, Jesus, what did I do? What have I done to myself? This is not good. This is not for me. So
And
I,
at first, I'll tell you, I had that reaction at first. I knew I wanted to learn, but I didn't know what I was doing. like just I have a history with arcade gaming that goes way beyond before one up starts. Like I used to do all the DIY kits from like Dream Arcades and all that stuff. So I used to tinker with MAME and all that. That was like how I kind of but
Yeah.
when I but I never thought about buying a full size outside. I had a couple, like I had a Golden Tee and I had a Galaga at one point, but they didn't I had small space then. So like I literally brought a Galaga up to an apartment complex and it was like you know what I mean? If you do something like that, you're gonna immediately be like, "Wow, this is like the dumbest thing I could ever do," because they don't fit well in small spaces. Like they
Right.
don't, and they are heavy as hell. Like that's all real. But when I first bought my first actual, not the Galaga, not the, I won't count those because those were in the past and I didn't have the space. But if I think about what my first arcade cabinet I bought was that started my obsession with collecting, it was a Z-back. I got a Z-back, and that's like one of the heaviest cabinets you could
Oh
get.
my God, it's ridiculous.
And everything was broken on it. Like literally, and I paid way too much for it because I had no idea what I was doing. So I paid too much. It was super heavy. I remember I one of the casters was like broken and tilted, so it scratched up my whole floor. I was like, what the hell
Oh
did I
yeah,
do? Like
nice.
but then I learned, and then I
Yeah.
learned and enjoyed, like started enjoying the hobby.
Right.
But I just wish more people like I don't want to jump the gun too much, but I had this like weird reaction to when Unico announced their 26-inch LCD screen because I just hope people don't do this. Like if you're gonna buy a real arcade and it's working and you decide to rip it apart and make it a multicade, you are the prime candidate for building a multicade or buying an At Games Legends Ultimate or buy like don't do that to a real arcade. Just go buy the other thing and that already is set up for that or build your own. Like there's plenty of people that want to restore and fix and renew old machines. Like let those people do that. And unless you're I know this sounds gatekeeperish, but I feel like it's more a preservation mindset. Like let the people
Hmm.
that want to do that because there's many options for you to achieve your goal without butchering an original machine.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like I'm
No,
being
I think it's a
gatekeeper, but I
matter of
don't mean it that way.
I think it's a matter of education though. Like if and how you take your perspective on it. Like if you're saying it like that, I think it's more of a matter of like you're trying to say it in a way to be like to educate people on like part of one of the specialties of the hobby, which is that we like to do we like to take these things and bring them back to have that original experience with all the hardware in it and everything, the way that it was meant to
Yeah.
be. And they're becoming harder to find, or harder to come by in some cases. And so when somebody takes one and puts different hardware in it or updated hardware, I think it is like from a purist point of view, it is difficult to like see that you're like, I mean, I consider myself to be like more of a purist when it comes to actual coin ops. Like I don't like to take away from the
Change it around.
original, right? Take away from the originality of it. Um, and I no disrespect to anybody who wants to put LCDs in or anything like that, but I agree with what you're saying as far as like personally, I would never do something like that. I think that it's better to just spend your money if especially if you want to do a multicade, either build your own or get a kit because they're cheap. Like it is cheap to get a
Yeah,
kit.
they're not bad.
And when you look at the overall amount of money that you spend, which is, I think, one of the things that I've really learned since I started in 2019, if you look at the overall amount of money that you're going to spend on building a nice multicade, you can easily land in a ballpark of like $1,500, and you have like a
Yeah, totally.
really nice multicade, right?
And then if you get lazy, like let's say you're like, you know what? And I don't mean lazy, that's the wrong word to use, but let's say you're like, look, I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to put a PC together. I don't want to do a Pi image. I don't want to get a Pandora's box. I don't want to mess with any of that stuff. There are companies that sure the price is going to go up probably almost double or more,
Uh huh.
but now you're talking like the 3,000 and a little bit higher range. But if you're already buying, like let's say you've committed to like let's say you're the person that sees the foresight that you're going to go buy like 10 to 12 one-ups. Well,
Mm-hmm.
now you've more than paid for that awesome multi-cade that probably would satisfy you more than all of those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like but I think sometimes you have to make the mistakes before you learn sometimes. Like I
Sure.
think now there's
Yeah.
a lot of like all these streams have been going on for years and years and years now. So the education is out there. So it shouldn't be there shouldn't be as many people that feel like they're getting into the hobby and don't know what to do, or that there's all these other options for you, because now they've become almost mainstream in the sense that we've all talked about them for a long time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like there's just, and I don't mean it to, I'll go back just a tiny bit. If someone owns something and the CRT dies and they don't know how to fix it and they just decide to put an LCD in it, that's their prerogative. You know what I mean? It's just that, nowadays it's almost like sometimes people get on you for having an opinion, like as if I'm telling everyone else what to do with it. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, for me personally, I think if you're gonna do all that, there are other options that might make you more satisfied versus like gutting something. I don't know. That's just my take on it. But
Right. And the other thing is too, like if you're buying a coin op, like I always have like a set of parameters when I buy one. I'm like, the monitor has to work, like everything in it has to work before I buy it. Like after that, fine, I take responsibility for it. But when I like, it has to power on and it has to work. Like because I don't have the patience or the time to go look for PCB parts or whatever, and I'm just not going to do it. But you still have to take on the responsibility of knowing, like, okay, I could be buying something that's possibly going to cost me a lot of money down the road if, when it comes time to like repair something or replace a part in it. And, that's like a big thing to accept with coin ops, is like knowing that you're not getting something that has a warranty or that
yeah,
is going to
yeah,
be
you're on your own.
protected or any, right. You're on your own. So,
I've had people want to buy stuff for me and ask me if it comes with a warranty, and I'm like, no. Like I was like, I'll help you if you have like a question or something. Of course, I'm not going to leave you hanging, but
right.
Imagine if every arcade game I sold, I was like, yeah, I'll help you fix it if it breaks. I mean, I've sold lots of them now, so it would be crazy the amount of like I'd need a call center probably to like support all that. So I don't know. I'm with you though. Like
you'd go from being Retro Ralph to Fix It Felix.
yeah, that's true.
But
Oh wait, shoot, I have that too. Hold on, I'm way late. Let me see if it's the right button. Did it work?
It did.
Okay. I can also do this. I don't know when we'll use this, but if you cue me up, you can do magic.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just use the word magic when I'm ready.
Let's try it. Try to wave your, do like 3, 2, 1 and wave your hand, and I'll see if I can time it on.
This is the most magical podcast.
That was way off. It's okay. It's my fault. I didn't time it right,
but oh, one thing I was going to say though is there are sometimes though, and I feel like this with like, cuz I still have a few 1-ups left.
Yeah.
There are some of them that I think are really cool, and the reason why is because they're licensed 3/4 scale cabs that are licensed artwork, licensed games, etc., etc. But like Star Wars, for example, you have the yoke, and then you go over to Tron. You have the spinner and the push-pull spinner and the Tron stick with the deflector. And granted, like you're not getting the full arcade experience with the size and the CRT and DOT, of course, you're not getting the full arcade experience with DOT. But my point is just that those are very control specific cabs that follow the design of the original coin op. They're not perfect,
yeah,
but I'm just saying they're licensed, they're collectible to me, and they're cool because they satisfy the need of using that calibrated control setup. You know what I mean? And that's something that they do that nobody else can do. And even if you get a multicade, then, you're going to have to get a multicade.
It's on you to get it working right. Yeah.
And you have to get like the, detachable control setups and stuff like that. And that kind of stuff, is time consuming and expensive. But anyways, that's one of the main things.
Did you ever see my, this goes back a lot of years. Did you ever see my video I did on this cabinet I called the Beast? It was this gigantic multicade with 4 players. And have you ever seen it?
I don't think so.
It goes back a long time. So I built this huge thing. It was the biggest cabinet that Game Room Solutions, it was the biggest kit they sold. So it was all flat packed wood.
Yeah.
And it was huge. I'm telling you, like I had I want to say it's a 42-inch, widescreen like TV in it. And it was awesome. But like, yeah, it was all on me to get all those controls working the right way. But I even put like a special 4-way joystick on it, so when I was playing games like Burger Time or whatnot, it would work great.
Right, right.
So like I had but I only put one on there. So like if you were playing a traditional arcade game, there was one joystick sort of like centered in the middle you could use for like, the games that required a 4-way stick. I mean, they didn't have those ones where you could. Now they have ones that can like convert from 4 to 8-way, but I question how good those would be in like a fighting game scenario or something. So
Yeah, because the
anyway,
throw isn't very big on those ones
yeah.
that you can
There was a cool
switch.
comment in here, Jade. I never asked you if you ever started this way, but one of the things that I definitely was doing in like I don't know, it was whenever they kind of started coming out, like the Pandora's Box 6 or something is probably the first one I played with, or maybe the 5.
Hmm.
Um, Bono's Techno said most people should just start with a Pandora's box and go from there. I don't necessarily disagree with that because it's a great way to enter the hobby because you might find that you're just looking for some kind of nostalgic itch, and after you're done with it, like that's it. You don't want to build a whole room of it. You're just going to take it out of the closet every now and then. And sure, it doesn't emulate perfectly. It stretches this, well, the newer ones don't, but the new ones are a little bit better. But you know what I mean? It's a good place to go. You don't invest a ton of money and you can see if it's something you want to get more into?
Yeah, I mean, like especially from some, if especially if you're just like looking and you're not like super into it, like, oh, here it is, the Beast. But to
I don't
me,
know why, but it's like stuck on my end. I don't know if hopefully it's not for everyone else, but I'm kind of paused, but I
oh
can
my
still hear
God,
you, so it's good. But
no, you are actually. Hold on, that's my fault. Probably, of course it is. There we go. I think, yeah, you're
yeah,
fixed now.
I think I'm back. Yeah. Yeah, the Beast was a really cool project, but holy crap. Like wait till you see some of I don't know if I showed it much in part. This is part 2, so I don't know if I showed building it much in this, but I know I do get into I'm paused again for some reason, but maybe it's okay on your end.
It's because I keep switching back. Okay, there.
Yeah, so that thing was huge. Look at the control panel. Look at all that wiring I had to do. Like that was
Yeah.
insane.
So
you,
this is
you know?
GRS, right?
Yeah, this is Game Room Solutions, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But I had a spinner. That's Glenn's spinner. So I'd put Glenn's spinner on there, which I had to modify because it wasn't, he doesn't have the arcade. One thing I wish he would do is I wish he would make arcade equivalent versions of his parts like that could plug. I know some of them do, but
Hmm.
this one didn't. So this one I had to like, it wasn't a non-standard
I
hole.
know
It was like he was using
he
a
has a
buttonhole.
newer spinner. I think that might be more compatible or something. But I know it was supposed to be better. What kind
Yeah, I
of
mean on this
switches
I
are those?
used all,
Cherries? Oh
yeah,
yeah,
they
those
were
are
all the Cherry
DX44s.
micro switches.
Yeah.
I used Hap competitions on it at the time, and that was my 4-way stick. I just used a Sanwa in the middle and set it to 4-way so I could do like, Burger Time or Pac-Man or Donkey Kong or whatever. So,
Right.
but, and then I have controllers too, because it could run modern. Like I was running like modern Killer Instinct on it, the newer one, the whatever year that came out, 2013 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Um, it could run a bunch of modern stuff. Yeah, this was a killer build. This PC is actually, if anyone's looking, I used to like boast about this guy
Wait, are
all the
you
time.
playing Doom on there or?
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
playing Doom
okay.
on there.
Okay.
But with the controller, not the joystick.
Yeah.
Um, this guy, his name's Carlos. He's the one that bought Game Room Solutions designs. So the new Game Room Solutions is this guy Carlos, and this dude Carlos created a PC build, and the name of the company is arcade-1.com.
Mm-hmm.
And his PC builds, his hyperspin builds are some of the best I've ever seen, and I'm using his build in here. It has everything. I mean,
Oh wow.
it bleeds on a little bit of like there's some gray area because some of the games he has are even still available in the arcade right now, so whatever. But
Oh wow.
um, but it's good. You dig
Oh,
it big time.
does he have like the Tiato builds in there or whatever?
He has all of the Techno Parrot stuff. He has like anything. He's
Oh,
got
okay.
3DO. He also includes this really cool thing. Like let's say your arcade's in attract mode, it'll
Uh,
play like old gaming commercials and stuff. It's badass. Like he
that's
did a
cool.
really good job on
Yeah,
this.
that's cool. I don't have like on my multicade, I actually just run straight off Windows and just I have like all my emulators on the side. But I like kind of integrated builds like that. My only thing is just that I have way more control over like optimizing the emulators and setting them up like really quickly and fine tuning and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I mean, this is obviously like a very large, all encompassing thing.
I know, and I sold it. It took up the problem was is if I did this again, I wouldn't do it four player. Four player was cool, but I had this idea that like everyone, it's just weird, right? Like not my friends aren't as into this as I am. Like my friends that are through YouTube and stuff
Mm-hmm.
that we go to shows and everything, they are, but none of them live here. So it's not like they're gonna come over and play with me. So it's like I have to beg people to play. So like for me, a two player would have been fine. I didn't need this gigantic thing. And
Right.
this was given to me, by the way. Like I didn't buy the cabinet; it was a showcase thing. But so like the artwork I didn't pick. He did all that. But
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was. I thought I loved it though. Like everyone that did see it that was into gaming was like, man, this is cool. Like it's a cool system. Just because the front, I had those front USBs, you could plug light guns in. I even had it set up so you could mount. It wasn't perfect, but you could put a Logitech wheel right on the front, and then there was an executable file on the desktop. You'd load that file. It would just reconfigure all the steering stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you could fully control the whole menu system with just the steering wheel. So you didn't have to like use the joysticks. You could the whole thing could be. It
Oh,
was cool.
okay.
Like
Yeah,
you would
that's
dig
wicked.
it. Yeah.
So how much do you think that like that setup,
If I were to buy it,
exactly how it is, would have cost at the time? And just real quick, thank you, Riddick. Just a small token of appreciation. Right on. For those of you in the chat, if you want to see a cool channel that is CoinOps cross 3/4 scale, Riddick's got a great channel. Really nice quality, good stuff. So check them
sweet.
out.
Um, I'm trying to remember what that thing cost because it wasn't cheap, but it also was like when you think about it, I want to say the cabinet. I know it's gone up in price. I think at the time that cabinet was $699, and I think it's $899 now. But that's just for the cabinet. So, but he
Right.
pre-cuts all the holes and everything. Like
Yeah,
everything's
yeah.
all, yeah. So like the whole panel is all CNC cut, and you can actually tell him what you want. Like let's say you were gonna put in like a trackball or a spinner. Like you just tell
Right.
him, and he'll pre-cut it for you.
Well, that's what I did. Because I got my multi-cade kit from Game Room Solutions, because theirs is like the easiest and the most budget friendly to do, and their print quality on
Agreed.
like the graphics and everything is actually really nice. It's like real legit arcade print quality. Um, but yeah, so I think that you would average probably with a full build, a full custom build. I think you would average anywhere from 16 to 1800, and that's shipped
I
with
think
it.
that's fair.
And
Yeah.
I'm talking like full on custom, everything's done for you. You just put it together once it gets to your door. So, I mean, to me, that is like one of the best deals you could get if you want something that's like all encompassing, and uses
Yeah.
like light guns too, for example.
There's this guy, since we're on the topic, there's this company out of Australia, and no people don't typically buy. Let me see if I can find the website real quick because I think you'd think it's cool. It's out of Australia, but the guy, he hasn't really sold many to the US because shipping's just crazy from Australia. But it's apparently like in the next 2 months he's starting production in the States.
Mm-hmm.
His company is called and his stuff, this would be more to me. This is his stuff is exclusively for the person that wants to buy something out of the box. It's all done. You don't do anything but like turn it on when you get home. And his company is called Extreme Gaming Cabinets, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Now,
Let
and
me
he
check it
sells
out.
some crazy stuff. Like he's got stuff fully configured light gun shooters with like I mean they come this is again this gets gray area, right? It comes with like the new House of the Dead, the remake on it, and like a whole bunch of other stuff. So you gotta
Right.
like you know
Well, I want to show you this real quick because these guys do like sick cabinets. These are probably like some of the sickest looking cabinets I've ever seen, and they do the same thing, like full on builds. And I know
What is
that
this
they
one? I don't think I've heard this one. What is this
Paradox
company?
Arcade Systems.
I don't think I know this one. Let's
Dude,
see.
check this out though. Oh wait, I wish
Looking
I
at it up at the same time as you're bringing it up.
I wish I could. So look at this right here. See the steering wheels? So
Are they
that
U.S. based?
Yeah, they're US based. And so they have like basically these mega just ridiculous monster builds they do. I mean, probably like the cost of like a full on with like everything, like steering wheel attachments, yoke attachments, it comes with literally everything, is probably around 10K, maybe
Yeah.
even more.
Holy crap! I'm looking at it right now. He's got like, see, like and you have to appreciate the, just from, you've built your own over the years a couple times, I think, but you have to appreciate, I know that someone might go, oh my gosh, 10K, that's crazy. But when someone tells you like, oh yeah, there's 3,000, there's, who knows, let's just say there's like 10,000 games, they all work, and by the way, you can just plug in a light gun and it will work, or plug in your steering and it will work. Like, there's something to be said about that.
Right.
And it starts becoming worth that price if you think about the time it would take you to curate all those games,
Oh
get
yeah.
them all working with all the controls. Like, it takes a long
Oh
time.
yeah. I mean, the value is definitely there. I mean, just looking at this one right here, like this thing's decked out, and they have like these builds, so you'll get something like this, right?
Oh my gosh,
And
the Colossus is freaking insane. The steering wheels fold down.
yeah,
That's badass. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that is cool.
yeah, they're really really awesome, and the amount of detail, like the attention to detail, is insane. Like I would love, like the one that I have on the screen right now, like something like that would be so sick.
Andy even does the. I've always toyed around with this. I don't know if you've ever played with it. It seems like a pain in the ass to me, but I eventually am going to do it. Have you seen how teamolding.com sells it sells that clear team molding that you feed the LED strips through?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
It
would be
looks cool. It
that
looks
would be
really
cool
cool
in a
because,
multicade. Yeah,
yeah, it looks really neat.
yeah.
I could see
So
myself putting that on a multicade for sure.
they do, but I mean, like that is like the ultimate. Like to me, like everything about that is like pretty much that's like the perfect multicade. I've never seen anything that is cooler build wise than what they do.
Does this one you're showing, this Colossus one, is that everything? Is it light guns, driving? Is it is included all of that?
The one that I'm showing, I'm not sure if it is, but yes, the one, I wish I could pull up their Instagram on here because they have like builds like that where you can see. Oh, here we go. Hold on.
So like, as much as I dig the real stuff and I am absolutely an arcade collector,
Mm-hmm.
I could totally have one of these in my collection and eliminate the need for certain games where I wouldn't want to buy them, like, and own them just because of space they take up. And you can't obviously own every
Exactly.
game,
Yeah.
but it would like scratch that itch for these games that, like, that you could
Yeah.
just fire up on here and be fine with.
You see, did you see that though? They had a Tron stick on there, the steering wheels, or you can swap it out with a yoke. They had the recoil guns. Like,
This thing is sick.
dude,
I
it's
honestly, this is almost better than the other
wild.
one I just showed you.
It's
This is
wild.
cool.
Yeah.
He even has a four-player. He has a four. There's an option where you can add a
And
four-slot coin door too. Like,
yeah.
that's
And did you see the
what
giant LCD
I
marquee?
did. Yeah, it's cool.
I mean,
Damn.
but it's just like
Like, I could
the level
totally.
of detail though. Like look at that control panel. Like it's so cool. Oh my god.
The buttons don't look, for some reason, like, my only beef would be I never feel like light up buttons are ever good buttons. They do have some that branded ones, like I think Hap sells a couple and IL
Mhm.
might have some,
Mhm.
but like I always feel like the light up buttons
They're
aren't always
yeah,
the best, even though they look cool.
they're not using like the Amazon brand, I can tell you that much. And the cool
Yeah, they're
thing
using
is like,
something
look,
good.
he's playing a driving game or a gun game, all the light up buttons turn off. Like that's an attract mode thing.
I feel like I feel like you've put one of these in like a cart before and like and then contemplated what body part you'd have to sell to like to actually buy it.
No, I actually
Like,
reached out to them and I was like, hey, like I'm thinking about getting one of these. Like, what would, this type of like build, cost or whatever. And I wanted to get one, but it was like, man, it's just like the pricing for me was just too steep. Like I just can't swing it.
well, it's
I
pretty
think it was
expensive.
like for
Well,
the
especially in
build,
one shot.
yeah, for the build that I wanted, it was like 5,500, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna try, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Um, but
Isn't it
anyways,
weird though how you could like over time buy enough one-ups to probably get close to that amount, but like it's over time, you know
yeah,
what I mean? Just for
if
someone
you
to be
just
like,
get
here's six
saturated,
grand.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
it
you're
comes
just like,
expensive.
but yeah, I mean, so something like that is awesome. But I mean, look, that's a multicade done right. Like now you have access to every single control type, light guns,
Yeah.
everything. It's just you have
What
the
does he
multicade
support for light guns? Do you
format.
know? Is it Sinden? Is it Gun for IR? Do you know what he's using?
I'm not sure actually. Yeah, I'm not sure. But I mean, they're nice, and like you saw them, they have like the recoil on them and everything. Nothing they use is like of crappy quality. Like let's put it
Yeah,
that
you can
way.
tell.
Like everything that they use is very high quality. And when I spoke with them, they actually said that a lot of the stuff they do is for like business or like corporate places,
I could
like
see that.
Google or something like that. Um,
The steering wheels look legit. They look
yeah,
really, really nice.
like
Like they look like
actual.
arcade steering
Yeah,
wheels. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And the control
Man.
panel height is like correct. It comes correct so that um everything
Well,
feels
and like the
comfortable.
one thing I think is cool and why like I dealt with this with the one I built, I didn't have the ability to tuck away the steering wheel, so I had to take dismount it. And not that that's a big deal, but how cool is it that they're like, "Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll put them on hinges that locked into place so we can fold them down and you don't see them." Like that's badass.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool.
Yeah. And you know what okay, this is totally random, but I was just thinking like looking at that setup, I bet you could play games like Lucky and Wild on there.
Oh, that's true. You have like fold one of the steering wheels down and have the other person with the guns. Oh
Right.
my gosh, that would be because that's a game that you like. I don't know how you would recreate that. I mean, you
Right.
could, but
This would be
that's a good
the
idea.
way. This would be the way.
It's
That's
always broken at Gallop and Ghost, by the way. Every time I go there, I've
Oh,
never
really?
actually been able to play it at Gallop and Ghost because something's always broken on it. Like I don't know. It's either the guns aren't working or the steering wheel isn't working, so you can never really fully play it. But
Dude, did you ever see that one I posted that was like somebody was selling it for like $300 and it was like there was just
yeah,
something wrong with
because
the
I was trying to
monitor.
convince you to buy it. I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
when someone else shows you something cool, you like want them
Yeah,
to
you're
get it
like,
because
"Get
you're like,
it."
well, I'm not gonna get it. I'm like, go get it, even though it probably had a bunch of like issues. I was like, yeah, go get it.
Okay. Wait. Okay. So, this is awesome, but I want to like hit you up with some of these questions that I had real
All right, we were
quick.
geeking out hard. Sorry,
I
that
that
happens.
No, I'm sorry. It's what am I even doing? Okay, here we go. We're back. So, okay, your three like Grail arcades that, let's just put it this way, not like Moonwalker. I know Moonwalker's a Grail, but something that is like almost unobtainable, like in its entirety. Like for example, I'll give you mine. Like Discs of Tron upright is one of them. Like that is like practically unobtainable. So Discs of Tron, like a Star Wars and a Dragon's Lair Space Ace dedicated would be like my three that if I came across and was able to like pull it, like I would love those. Like I would get them no matter how much space I had.
Hmm. Oh, so space is not an issue in this equation,
No,
or
we're not worried. We don't care if we
space
don't.
doesn't matter?
Yeah, space just doesn't matter.
Oh,
That's
well,
how
okay.
important.
That
That's
makes
how.
it more fun.
But that's how important they are to you. Like you could be out of space, but you're like, I have to get this.
Okay, so the first one I'll rattle off, and this is mostly nostalgia, and I have talked about this on the channel. Like actually, I've talked about the whole story on the channel, but um, I would totally if space wasn't a factor, I would want an Afterburner Deluxe, and it's not because oh my gosh, Afterburner is this amazing game. I think the game is fun, but replayability of Afterburner after you've beat it a couple times is not great. But that one is purely nostalgia because my grandfather, when he took me to the arcade, number one, he loved um, he was in the Navy, but he got me like really into, he used to bring me to air shows as a kid. And so I
Okay,
loved
yeah.
fighter jets. Like fighter jets were, I was obsessed. I had pictures of fighter jets all over my, like, well, I couldn't put them on my wall because my mom wouldn't let me, but anywhere I could put a picture or photo of a fighter jet, I would. And so Afterburner Deluxe means a lot to me. And it's more because of my grandfather. Like he used to bring me to the arcade and he'd be like so excited watching me play it. Like he was so into it, even though he wasn't playing it. So Afterburner Deluxe, absolutely. The other one I would want to get, I posted about it the other day. this isn't a childhood one. It's one I played and I was like, holy shit, this is cool. But then I realized how rare they are and how little few of them were actually built. It's a upright pinball game that Williams made called Varcon,
Oh yeah,
and
I saw that.
it's so freaking cool. Like it has all those weird 80s sound effects that are so unique to that time period. Like it's so, and it's weird because you're playing pinball on a mirror. Like the play field is actually down here, and then it's being like mirrored in front of you. So the if you really do look down in the cabinet, you can see the pinball is like down below. But I don't know, there's something really odd about it. Like you feel like it may be because I was at Galloping Ghost and his pinball location is kind of more isolated. Like it's not as crazy as the main area because there isn't as many systems in there. But I felt like, I don't know, with the sound effects and the fact that the pinball machine's kind of like set into this cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
there's something really spooky and mysterious about it. But I looked it up and the going price for one, if you can even find one, because only 90 were made, is like 8,000 plus. So
Yeah.
that's kind of out of reach.
Right.
The other one I would buy because it's freaking crazy and I would just be, it'd be so cool to be like, yeah, I got one of those, would be a Sega R360. Even though that's insane to own in your house, but that would be like
Wait,
so
an
freaking cool.
R360? Or are you talking about the
Do you not know the
canopy,
R360?
the canopy one? Canopy,
The
is that the
R360 is the one that you have to like, it's almost like an amusement ride. It has an attendant station and you have to put like a overhead thing. It goes upside
Yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane. Like that thing is so freaking cool. Um, I mean, it's so out of reach. Like there's no possible way. I think they just sold one at Captain's like 4 months ago for 50 grand, but they
Oh my
cost like
God.
100. I want to say they were 150 grand when they came out. Like if you were a, but they went to like places like Disney or huge,
Right.
like huge
Right.
centers.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't go to
That's
like,
that's where I saw it.
mom Papa Joe's arcade.
They used to have one at the Starcade in Disneyland for a while. Like right when you would walk in, it would be on the right hand side, and it was just right. It was huge, you know, it was that big giant like canopy style
Yeah.
thing, and there was somebody standing right next to it always. And I swear half the time it wasn't even working, uh, but yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Um,
I probably would change my. If you asked me again in like a month, I'd probably change my list. But Afterburner would never be removed. Afterburner Deluxe would always be on that list because
yeah,
that's just one I would love to own. Yeah,
I think my one that would never change for sure would be Discs of Tron Upright. Like
Mhm.
environmental would be cool, but like I just thought that the Upright was so cool. Just because it's
So
just
wait, you
the
wouldn't
art.
want the environment?
No,
You'd want
the
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 upright over
the
the environmental?
well, okay. I'm just thinking like I guess
You're gonna
I'm
have to
thinking with
explain this.
okay, I'm thinking with space constraints. No,
You said there
if
were
I
no space
okay, right.
constraints.
If I could choose between
Don't break your own rules.
either or, yeah, I would definitely want the environmental. But everything about that cab is amazing. Like the artwork, the colors, the inside of it, the fact that the environmental has the voice effects in it, and like everything about it is just amazing. And it's such a beautiful cab. Whether it is the upright or environmental, they're both just like beautiful
Yeah.
cabs.
Do you
And
know the story on that? Like why it was a separate game?
what do you mean?
So like, do you know
Oh,
why
why
it
Discs
wasn't
of
like
Tron
Tron and
was
Discs of Tron in the same game? It was like
no,
a
actually
memory
I didn't.
issue. Like it was originally going to be like two games in one game. Like it was going to be the Tron movie and like
Oh,
yeah, but
I
they
didn't
they
know
like didn't
that.
have the memory. Yeah, Arcade Hollywood told me that. He's
Wow.
like, yeah, and then I validated it with not that I didn't trust what Arcade Hollywood was saying, but I asked Todd Tuckey about it. He's like, yeah, it was like it was supposed to be like that feature is supposed to be in the original game, but they just didn't have the memory to add more memory would have like made the game cost blown out of proportion. So they were like, well, let's just
Wow.
make it a separate game.
Wow.
So
Oh,
it's kind
they
of cool.
went big. I mean, doing an environmental for that, like that was
Yeah,
huge. And then you have like the separation of the upright doesn't have like the voices in it, right?
I
But
don't.
the
Yeah, I didn't know that actually. That's interesting. So the
yeah, I
voices
think that
aren't in the.
yeah, the upright
Huh.
doesn't have the voices, but the environmental has the voices of what's his name, the guy who plays Sark.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
know someone that has an environmental that so, and he wants to sell it. So I'm just saying, you can
what?
squeeze some room in
Yeah,
for
how much is he
it.
asking for it? Like
I don't
15,000?
know. No, I think it needs to be restored. So talk about a big project that would be for you. But
Yeah.
um, I don't even know if I would want to tackle a project that big. I mean, I guess I would, but I don't know. With you and I are in similar situations because we have kids and stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, it would seems like it would be. It would take a lot of time to restore something like that,
Yeah.
and I mean,
Yeah.
just the sheer like size and magnitude of it, and then trying to find all the parts that you need if there's things missing would probably be a bit
Right.
of a challenge. But
Yeah. Parts would be like actual PCB parts and stuff would be like my biggest concern, you know? Like I think if you get it with a working PCB, and you know that everything works, then I think like that's good. You can work with that. But what a cab like that, if something doesn't work in it, it's I mean, oh my God, it could be
oh my gosh, I just looked it up. There's a buy it now for discs of Tron on eBay, but it's 1750 just for the board.
yeah, just for the board. Yeah, and the there's multiple parts to it. So because there's a soundboard,
Yeah,
that
that was just the main board
yeah,
for 1750.
yeah, and then there's like so it'll tell you though like whether it's environmental or upright because of the difference in like the sound chips or something like that. And then the environmental has like an additional. I think it's like an additional board or like the chipset's different or something. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. There's this is I don't know if this is all three of them, but it says Disciptron Environmental main logic PCB set, and then Squawk and Talk sound PCB, and then Super Sound IO with panning. And I think panning is like if something's on the
mm-hmm,
right side, it'll
mm-hmm,
actually like move the audio. It'll be like spatial audio, which is
right.
that's actually really cool.
Yeah. So is the and that's all together? How much is that?
It's 1750 for the main, then another 275 for the talking, the soundboard, and then for the super sound for like the surround sound, it's four. I mean, obviously it's he's this person's pricing it, however, so it's 500, 300, and like 1800 basically.
Yeah. So like almost 3 grand.
Yeah. You know what is cool though? This is so when they made the environmental version of Sinistar, it has that panning thing too. So there's two soundboards in Sinistar, the
Mm-hmm.
cockpit version, but this didn't exist in the regular stand up was just a mono single speaker,
Mm-hmm.
but this one does have this was really cool because when I got the environmental, like depending on where you are in space, like if something's flying and shooting at you from like the right hand side, you do hear it like kind of cross your head as it flies by. Like if it's shooting and flying by
Right.
you, it's
Right.
really cool for. I mean, now it's primitive, I guess, considering like the surround sound and crap we have now, but cool for like 1982 or
Oh,
three or
for
whatever,
sure, for sure. But I mean, even remember that about the environmental inversion of Tron, like the feeling of hearing sounds on like one side or
Yeah,
another, depending on like where your disc was and stuff. So that's really cool. That's about the same time frame, isn't it?
I think so because
And they
I
were
want to say
both
Sinistar was 82 or 83.
they're both Bally Midway.
Well, Sinistar would be Williams, but
But
I think isn't
will
this of Tron Valley Midway when they merged? I think so.
yeah,
It was when
but
they
that's
merged.
technically like the
Yeah, for sure,
same
same
thing.
company, even though yeah.
Um okay. So, what was your plan for 2023?
My plan for 2023 was to slim down my collection
Uh-huh.
and kind of get rid of things that I was trying to get rid of things that maybe I bought over the years that weren't like I think when you start to with anything, right? You said it earlier. Like when you collect things, you can get out of hand really quick. And
Mm,
sometimes you just are collecting something like, "Oh, it's such a good deal."
right.
Like I know if tomorrow I got an alert on offer up and it said there was a big blue for cheap, like I'm obsessed with those cabinets. I think they're super cool. Would I buy it? I don't know. Like I might. If it was a Punisher, I absolutely would because there weren't that many of them made. But that's the problem with this crap is you you get like hooked on it and then you're like, "Oh, I need to have this."
Yeah.
Even if it's not something you were looking for. But my idea was I would slim down the collection and get rid of the things that like weren't things I like really really wanted, or if I was not playing them often. Because
Refining, right?
refining. But I
Yeah.
want to share this with you because this is the truth. This is the truth that I've never told on the channel, but I was going to do a video on it, but I haven't done it yet. My original intent was never to become an arcade collector. My intent was I thought it would be cool to buy arcade machines, learn how to restore whatever one I bought. So let's say it was a Konami cab, learn how to restore that. And at that time, I would learn all about that particular game and the hardware and everything that took that game to run. And then I would sell it, and I wouldn't be looking to like gouge or anything. It would be, hey, if I can get my money I put in back, that was cool, because I would roll it into the next project, and then I would just continue that cycle. That's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
But then as I started restoring them, you do that whole thing, and anybody that's ever done a mod or anything really, home improvement project, you sit back and you admire the thing you did, and you're like, man, that's really cool. Like, I learned how to do this. I didn't even know how to do this before. And that I couldn't sell it then. Like, it was weird. I got a little attached to it, and then that kept happening. So my original intent of like repairing and then sort of like, I don't want to call it flipping, because that flipping would imply I was trying to make a big profit, and that's not what it was. It was like, cool, I'm going to give it new life. It's going to get back to someone that wants to play it, and I'm going to take in the next one. But I screwed that up literally like 2 months into this whole like thing when I started going into coin op. So
yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I get it though. I get it. I mean, I kind of like, I'm kind of the same way in the sense of, but I think also that I kind of felt that urge to keep everything and to kind of like, you know, collect more and more. And so I think that it really did get to a point with me where I'm like, okay, like, what do I actually want? Like, what can I not get out of a multicade, and what do I actually want, like an original of? And so like,
Yeah.
For example, like, you know, for the longest time I was talking about getting a Dynamo and like a Capcom cab, right? And so then I ended up with the HS5, which was my Neo Geo, and then I found that Z-Back that had the Naomi in it. And so I got like, I feel like I got lucky. And then my friend pretty much hooked me up with that Fast Cab, which is like, in my opinion, it's like one of the best sit-down racers that you can have as far as like replay value goes and stuff like that. And just like the nostalgia and kind of iconic sense of like Paul Walker and Vin Diesel on the side art and stuff like that. So, but anyways, yeah, so I feel that. But with that being said, so how's your New Year's resolution been going?
Well, I broke it already, and you know that. So I messed up. So like, I really, did I say in that original post though, did I say the whole year? Because if I did, then I really screwed up, because I actually bought 2 things. I just didn't talk about the other one yet. But
yeah, Moonwalker, I feel like that was like a project, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking about what you actually did say. I feel like you just said you were going to be like refining it. I feel like you did make a tweet that was like, I'm not going to buy anything. If I buy anything, slap me in the face.
I even signed it, and I said, I even like put a little, yeah, I know so I broke the rule, but I don't know. It's weird. I actually had the Fast and the Furious stand up. And then when everyone started, when it like, you know, the movie trailer dropped and everyone started talking about it more, I was like, man, that is, and I made a top 5, I can't remember, maybe it was like a top 10 racers, which is my personal top 10. And I put Fast and the Furious on that list because I think it's super fun.
Yeah.
And the to your point, the reason why I think it's fun, and I don't know how this would translate for the arcade 1-up version, is having the keypad and being able to come back to it. And like, because if you think about it, if you were paying quarters for that cabinet and
wheel.
you were gonna,
you just use the steering wheel. Yeah.
But like, that was a really fun element of that game, because you could literally go back to another arcade that had it, like, I don't know, as long as it's the same game and no one moved it, all your stuff is still on that game. So you could come back and be like, oh man, I'm really close to unlocking the next car. And like, that was fun. And I think even in free play, that's still fun, because it's not like you get a ton of cash for finishing a race. It takes a long time to get unlock cars in that game.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, I agree.
I think it's fun.
I mean,
does it work good on the steering wheel though? Like, can you input the codes? Does it give you enough time?
Yeah,
it doesn't
easy.
like.
No, it's super easy. You're just like bloop bloop bloop.
Is it still timer focused though? Like, does it give you like?
There's still a timer, but I'm telling you, like, it's extremely.
It's long
easy.
enough. Okay.
Yeah, it's extremely easy. But here's a couple $2 super chats from Stringer Films if you want to read those, maybe in your fun voice or
All right,
something.
hold on.
Ralph loves three-quarter scale. Oh, shit. Ralph loves three-four scale people. That's why we're buds. Thanks for the super chat, Stringer. All right, next one. I bet Ralph $2 he'd buy more cats in 2023. Pay up. All right.
Thanks for the super chat, Stringer. And I don't.
Yes,
I'll
thank
pay
you.
you your $2.
Thank you.
It's okay. I knew I would screw up within like, I don't even know. I probably only lasted a month.
Okay, but
I'm gonna sell
I would
stuff,
say
though. I'm telling
I would
you,
say
Jade,
that
I'm selling a bunch of stuff.
your pace though seems a little bit better than it was last year. I mean, last year it was like twice a week. You're like, guys, look at this new arcade cap I got.
It was so bad last year. But I mean, and a lot of those cabinets are actually in storage because I can't fit them, which really sucks. Because I always kind of give people crap when, like, there was this video. I'll have to send it to you after this stream. There's this video. So do you know? Are you familiar with the company Allen One?
No, but I mean, I know
So Alan,
Alan One is Alan's username in Tron, so that's cool.
yeah, yeah. So these guys are huge Tron fans,
Mm-hmm.
and they opened up a company called Allen One, and they created it's the best Atari flight yoke replica you could ever find. I mean, it's improved upon the original. It is so good.
Wow.
And so they became kind of popular because there were no real authentic. I mean, I'm talking like this thing is better than the original. Like your mind would be blown at the quality they built this thing. It's expensive, but they own an arcade in Utah, I think called Flynn's Arcade or something. But just recently they did a tour of their they're saying it's their, they call it, oh shoot, they had a name for it. I don't know. They're calling it like their bunker or something. And like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like they have multiples of different games in there. Like they have like 5 Dragon's Lairs. And I'm like,
Wow.
I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like I almost don't like that I sort of have stuff in storage because I feel like it's not getting played. It's just sitting in there.
Right.
It's rotting away.
Right.
Like, does that make me a hoarder, which I never wanted to be? But I kind of feel like, I'm telling you, Jade, when you watch this video, you're going to be like, what the F? Like, they have everything. Like, any game you could possibly think about from that 80s and 90s era. Sometimes they have multiple of the same game. Oh, my God.
It's going to
they
make
have like
me,
5
jealous.
Atari Assaults.
Be like,
yeah, but it's
you
cool.
guys?
But how do you feel about someone that has, I'm not trying to talk smack on them, but when it's just tucked away and it's not being used, like if you had a warehouse filled with them, like would it be, I guess it'd be cool to say you have them, but
I mean,
no one's playing them.
I feel like if it's for preservation, like it's a good thing, but at the same time, like if there was like a buyer's market and you could sell them to people for reasonable prices, like maybe limit the amount that you keep in storage to like, 2 or something, or 3 maybe. But I mean, who am I to say anything about like what they've acquired and paid for or built on, it's hard. But I mean, like, yes, from like the point of view of like, there are collectors out there who would buy it and take care of it and actually play it, like, yeah, but you've got to send me this video. I really want to see it.
It's not like the guy that's doing it isn't like a YouTuber or anything. So it's kind of like a raw video of him walking through. But I kept finding myself pausing it because I was watching it. Well, I think Nick Madsen and I were talking about it. He's like, dude, there was like 5 Dragon's Lairs in there. I was like, nah, there wasn't 5. And then I went back. I was like, holy crap. And he has that Varcon game that I want. But the funny thing is after I watched the video, I Googled like how many Varcons were made. And I don't know where it pulls this comment from, but it said something. Wait a minute. Let me just pull up my history because I want to read you what it says because I was like, I don't know where it's pulling it from though. So it could have just been someone's general comment. All right, I have it over here. All right, it says, unfortunately, there was very little operator interest in Varcon and only 90 machines were made. And this is the part where I'm like, I don't know who put this in here. It says, the few that did survive today tend to be hoarded by pinball collectors looking for a truly novel game in their collection. It's like, but like that, I always wonder like how many people might hoard a game because it's rare, but they don't love it. You know what I mean? Because like I
Right.
love Sinistar, but I didn't grow up with it. So I'll be first to say like I didn't grow up with Sinistar, but I love that game. So I'm not buying it just to say I have it. I really play it. But I just wonder, and it's people's prerogative, right? They got the money, they can spend it on whatever they want. But it's just like, sometimes there are people that genuinely love a game, but they can't acquire it because someone's got it sitting in their warehouse somewhere. You know what I mean? And maybe they're never ever gonna play it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, yeah, it's a tough call, but I mean, I kind of agree though. Like if you have that many, like it would be cool to do something like have an auction or offer some of your surplus to collectors, I feel like, is there like an official arcade collecting guild or anything like that, you know, like anything
The
like
closest thing to that would be Clav. So like Clav, the arcade museum website, like that's the
yeah, yeah.
closest. Um, it's unfortunate that we don't have something like I feel like the pinball collectors did a better job at sort of like keeping more documentation because oftentimes I'm just calling like or I'm messaging Todd and being like, "Hey, what do you know about this?"
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't know how many Sinistar cockpits were out there, and then I didn't call him, but I messaged him on Facebook Messenger, and he's like, "Those were pretty rare," and he kind of gave me the count that he thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but sometimes even with modern stuff, you'll get different counts because in the Insert Coin movie, I'm switching gears to a different game. Insert Coin, they said they only made 500 grids, like 500 grid cabinets.
Yeah.
But then there's this guy in New Jersey. I'm sure you've seen him pop up. His name is Pinhead Company. He hosts grid competitions at his house and stuff. Have you ever seen that guy?
No. Uh-uh.
He literally has a huge grid set up in his house, and he has people come. Like he invites 100% strangers to his house to go play. And he like messaged me on the side. He's so infatuated with grid. He's like, no, that number's wrong. Like it's not 500. He's like, I actually have a personal relationship with Ed Boon. It's not 500. I was like, well, what is it? He's like, it's more than 500, but a lot of them got destroyed. But like, there's no way to verify that. Like,
yeah.
Unless someone shows like, oh wait, hold on.
Here's the manifest. But
If someone can't show like the actual data, like you don't know. Like I bet a lot of those records from Midway were either destroyed or like I'm sure they don't exist. So like it sucks that we don't know sometimes what the actual count of some of these games are.
Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy to think about that. You know, it would be crazier is to get like a production manifest from like one of those companies from those eras, or like for the
That'd be sick.
for the whole fiscal year or something. I mean, could you imagine like the history you would have in there, like the confirmation of like probably some things that we never even like thought to be rare or as lucrative as they are, and be like, oh, these things are like abundant. I bet like, if you look in the right nook and cranny, like where did this shipment go to? Like where were these cabs shipped
That
to,
would be freaking awesome.
right?
If you could say like, hey, this is the year that Discs of Tron came out, this is how many got the upright and this is how many got the environmental.
Right.
That would be really cool. And then like, I don't know.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
that'd
can
be
you
super cool.
can you really quick just read these super chats from Stringer?
Oh yeah. Are there more than?
There's
I'm
just two, but
behind.
no,
Okay, I got it.
okay.
All right. To be fair, you got to jump on deals when they pop up.
No, you have to do it in the voice. You have to do it in the voice.
Oh yeah. Hold on.
to be fair, you gotta jump on deals when they pop up.
I don't know why I'm making him sound like that. But, okay, so there's that one, and I do agree. But the thing is, that becomes a slippery slope because if you jump on just every deal, you end up like I was. Like there was a period of time where my storage unit was like a bunch of kind of junk cabinets, and now I've kind of slimmed that out. All right, next super chat from Stringer is $2 super chat.
Thank you, Stringer.
Oh wait, hold on, Jess. I don't even know how he's just follow me on Twitter for the arcade club. Am I like having it? I can't read that. I don't even know what he's saying.
I don't know. I think it's like arcade slang.
Just follow me.
Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter for the arcade club. Got it. Okay. Cryptic.
Oh,
Very.
Twitter. I gotcha, bud.
All right. Twitter.
Okay, on what you just said though about the slippery slope thing, like just really quick, I agree with you, and that was like the biggest thing where like I drew the line for myself because you see a good deal on a cool arcade cab and you're like, I just want to get it just because it's that deal, like that much for that cab. Like I don't
Yeah.
even really have nostalgia for that cab, but it's cool. You know, I have nostalgia for arcade
Yeah.
cabinets in general. And so yeah, that's like definitely one of the areas where like I really had to like figure that out for myself and be like, okay, I'm just only going to buy like what is important to me, period.
Have you bought something? Have you bought something that would fall into the you bought it because it was cool and you really aren't as interested in it? And now you're kind of figuring out what to do with it, or have you been smarter than that?
No, I think I learned from Arcade One Up purchases with that. So like Arcade One Up was like where I learned to stop doing that. And so when I, as far as like my coin op collecting goes, like it's just been very centric on really just what I want and what I have space for as far as coin ops go.
Yeah.
If that
I
makes sense.
I feel like there's a lot of people that, and I this is my view of the world from from time to time I dive in and watch some of the one up videos or the streams. I feel like there's a lot of people that purely buy, they're just very easily influenced, and they buy stuff they really don't have a lot of interest in. It's just that their favorite creator talks about it and they get sucked into this idea that they need to have it. I see it all the time, because how I know that they're doing that is they'll say stuff like, oh, I'm selling that one to get this one. And it's like, well, but maybe you didn't really like that one that much. You know what I mean? So like if it was a disposable cab to begin with, did you just buy it because it was like cool to get and everyone else was doing it?
Yeah.
And I fall victim to that myself. Like,
Yeah.
I bought an NFL Blitz when it was all going crazy on the one up side, and then I realized real quick I'd just rather fire up my Dreamcast and play it there. Like I don't need an NFL Blitz cab. So
and then then you just got a fast cab. So I'm seeing a trend. Rob.
That one I really wish I never sold, though. I find that game really fun, and especially like when my buddy when he brought it over, we were like rotating playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like even though it'd be cooler to have two.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good game though. It is. Oh my God, I just had like the biggest brain fart.
Well, there's 2 super chats if you want to think about it while I read them. I'm not going to do it in the voice this time, though. Actually, there's 1 super chat. Sugar says, Ralph needs T2 pinball and an R360 to be finished. I've wanted a T2 pinball, but the problem is with pinball is that I had to reconfigure my room to fit 2 of them. They're also a lot more expensive, although I'm kind of kicking myself because Captain's Auctions just had one, and it's hard with pinball because I like to be there to look at it, just like if I was buying an arcade game. But it went for a pretty good price. I feel like that game usually goes from like low 3s to like over 5, and this one fell in the middle. I don't know. I feel like that game should be like a $3,500 game, but it's not though. I feel like everyone always demands a little bit more for it. But the problem with pinball is I don't have the room. Like I'd have to make a choice to say I want less arcade games and more pinball machines. So and maybe I'll come to that conclusion at some point. Captain Retro in the chat, he was like, I feel like you're going to turn into more pinball or make the switch to pinball. I play my pinball more than I play my arcade games, that's for sure. I play it almost every day. So for what it's worth.
I remember what I was going to say. As far as like the arcade one up thing, I just think that there's a couple of different aspects to it, but I mean, as far as like people doing things to like, because they think somebody that they watch is like talking about something and it's cool. You know, like if you're that easily in, and I'm really sorry if this comes across as rude or whatever, but I mean, it's just, to me, it's just the truth. But if you're that easily influenced, like you're weak. Like, I mean, get what you like, collect what you like. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting to see what people are saying about stuff. But if somebody's saying that they think something is cool and then you're like, oh yeah, me too. Like, really? Like you're.
But don't you think there's a lot of a herd? But don't you think like online communities can turn into like herd mentalities pretty easily?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
it's human nature, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I'm talking about specifically the people that like it's so crazy to me that I can go into one of these live streams and it will be mostly the same people. There's some new people, but it's a lot of the same people that have been watching them since like 2018, 2019. So they're still like as hype about it, which is weird because I didn't factor my third factor in when you asked the question. I was just bored of Arcade 1-Up too. Like I was like, it's an emulator with a I know that it's going to sound like I'm being a dick, but I don't mean it that way. But it's like to buy all of those cabs, it made me feel like a multicade would have been a better use of space and time, and you'd be more happy with it versus buying so many, especially now at like a $700 cost. Unless, of course, you like if you and this is one that it's an opinion. Like someone could have a varying one, obviously, but like if you feel like they give you they scratch the itch of you having a real arcade in your house, then that's okay. That's fine. It didn't do that for me, but that's the only other reason why I can see buying as many like multiples. But if your main goal is I want to relive the games and play the games, then a multicade would be such a better use of your space. You know what I mean? Like it just makes more sense.
Right. Yeah. Space wise.
But,
I mean, but I think the other thing that's appealing to people who collect them is the form factor, because again, you get the licensed artwork, the licensed design,
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And all that. So if someone is building like an arcade, excuse me, in their house, and you look at the aspect of what a 1-Up is, there's no other place that you're going to get a smaller, more manageable, space conservative arcade setup that's licensed and actually like will play the game than you are from that company, you know. So if people are collecting it to build their home arcade because it's easy and doesn't require a lot of maintenance and stuff like that, like to me it makes sense, you know. If people just buy them and they're just collecting them and they're not really being like they're not really discriminating between or with like issues that the cabs may have or whatever the case is. So to me, from that point of view, I can see why people would collect them. Just like Third Floor Arcade, you know, Jason.
Yeah. He has a lot of them.
Yeah, so he's got a lot, but like he just does it. Like he just has a lot of fun with it, and he just is kind of over there doing his thing, and he has a really cool collection. It's fun. I mean, it's fun for me to look at. Like I would not want to have something, you know, that big personally, but for him, he does it and it looks really cool and it's fun for him. But I think that, you know, then there's that line of some people who just want to have them for aesthetics, and then there's some people who just want to have them because they're manageable, and then there's some people who are just collecting them, like they're just collecting them. There's really no other reason. Yeah. So I don't know.
I get jaded because of what I think I get jaded because of what the algorithm shows me. Like I feel like I see a lot of pictures and it's like it's not in a game room. It's like they're in their kitchen or they're shoved in places where you shouldn't have that. Like, I mean, I guess whatever. It's your house. You can have them wherever you want. But like, I wouldn't want a real arcade cabinet in my kitchen. You know what I mean? Like, my kitchen is my kitchen.
So what you're saying is you don't like where they're putting them.
No, I don't know. This is going to get into a whole other topic. I feel like I kind of get it, but I kind of don't at this point. Like, I feel like we're so far into this because I think a lot of people that entered the hobby buying these weren't in the hobby before. Mm-hmm. So they didn't know about all these other options that are available to them. And now after 5 years, those other options have gotten even better. So it seems crazy sometimes when someone puts an investment of like $5,000 or $6,000 into a bunch of these 1-Ups when if they really truly are they love the games, there's so many cooler ways to do it. But I do get I get the aesthetic conversation that does make sense. There are people that buy them, turn them on, they hear the sounds and it makes them happy, it makes them remember, and that's totally fine if that's what they want to do.
Well,
I just feel like yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, you know what Tyler?
I'm just going.
You know what Tyler Durden said?
Who? Oh, you broke up.
Tyler Durden.
What did he say?
Do what you like, man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the answer sometimes. Like that's the thing. We're human beings, so sometimes we look at what others are doing and we're like dumbfounded by it, and that's fine. Like sometimes I look at stuff and it doesn't make sense to me, but it doesn't need to, right? Like I just go, oh, okay, that's what you want to do. You know what I mean? It's all
Yeah,
good, but
yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't bother me. It's just I find sometimes like I guess I try to get into the psyche of the person making that decision, and I'm like, do they not know there are other ways, or is there another reason why they're doing it? And that's just weird human nature crap where you just like
Yeah,
obsess
yeah,
sometimes over things.
yeah. I mean, I think it goes
It's
both
like a
ways.
psychology conversation.
I really, it is like, this is like a very psychological, the community is enshrouded in all these psychological, what's the word, veils. There's like all these different colored veils that you can go through in this community. Do you have like a really manly voice filter? Because I don't want Zohar to get upset if this is like read in any other way.
It is, but it's kind of like it's almost like monster-ish versus. I'll try, but it's very like
Okay,
I don't even know if it's gonna sound good. We'll try it.
all right, let's try.
$4.99 super chat from console fanboy. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I buy one-ups to review them for my channel. Only because I only care about views, man. You know what I'm saying? Then I return them or I sell them because they're fucking shit.
All right. I don't think he said that, but
That was
all right.
good. I like
That's
it.
too deep. I feel like that's a very distracting voice. I'm gonna have to fine tune that one. It doesn't really make sense.
I liked it. It was like some Mortal Kombat Shao Kahn style.
Yes, definitely.
So thank you for the super chats, Zohar, and yeah, I mean, everybody. This is like the most contradictory thing I think I've read all day, though. I buy one-ups to review them for my channel only because I only care about. I'll leave that part out about only caring about views. Just to mirror it to this, then I return them or sell them because truly they're all trash. So I buy one-ups to review them for my channel, then I return them because they're truly all trash. So
I think he's kind of like making fun of other people.
yeah, he's being facetious.
I don't think he's being. But I will say this though, like that idea. Like, here's the thing. See, he's unique in the sense that Zohar's unique in the sense that he really is a very good Mortal Kombat player.
Mm-hmm.
To me, if you're a really good competition level player, you should absolutely never buy these. The only thing I think would suck him in is it's the ease of entry to play other people. But someone like Zohar could go play on Fightcade, which he does, I know.
Yeah.
But like that seems to me.
But he's also a
one,
collector.
I know, but he's not. He is a collector. He's not a collector of these things because he buys them and then he gets rid of them.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like he really doesn't collect them. He buys the latest one, and I think that's probably just. I do get him in this regard. He's such a hardcore Mortal Kombat fan collector that anything that comes out that's Mortal Kombat related, he's gonna want to buy. And I get that because I'm like that with Street Fighter. I have closets filled, and I know he doesn't like that game as much. I have closets filled with Street Fighter stuff, and I buy it because I like Street Fighter. I like the art. But a lot of it isn't necessarily great stuff. It's just I'm curious.
Right.
I'm curious about all things Street Fighter. So I get that. He has another one, by the way, I think.
I thought I read it. Didn't I just read it?
There's one with like a hashtag sorry not sorry. I'll read it. It's
wait.
okay. It's
I didn't see it. Well, let me pull it up. God, you're so sensitive sometimes, Zohar. I didn't do it on purpose. Jesus. Uh-oh, I'm clipped. I'm screwed. Okay.
But I will say this though,
Wait,
Jade, this is gonna be sound messed up, and I'm not a big fight game guy. I like the fight games, but I'm not good at them. I do think though that like him being a better Mortal Kombat player, that even more so makes no sense for him buying the one-ups because it's going to be hard for him to find someone that's like at his level of gameplay.
No. Yeah, no. I'm saying like just from a collector's standpoint, like it's like for me, okay, the MVC2 cab that they sold, I bought it just because I love the versus fighting games, and to me it was like just it was just a collector's item. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So I would never be like, oh, let's get on a tournament and play on the MVC2 cab. Like, let's start like a real tournament series. Like, no, because it's just not, that's not what it is. Fightcade is for that. But
For
But
sure.
I'm just saying, like, as an MK collector, like, I could see why he would buy it just to have it as like a collector's item type thing, if that makes sense.
But I think he is being. I think because sometimes it's hard to understand his jokes versus him being serious.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he had because he's got some high end collectible stuff though. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's got like really good quality statues and
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
I think he
yeah,
buys these and then he doesn't say this. Maybe he has. I don't know. I think he looks at them in disgust after time because they're not worthy enough to sit next to his other really awesome MK stuff. I really think that's what's going on in his head. He doesn't want to admit it, but I think he's like, man, it doesn't like rank up with the other MK quality stuff I have. It'd be like a super hardcore. Imagine like an
yeah.
amazing Star Wars collector that has all this high end stuff like movie props and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they really want is the real Star Wars cabinet right next to all that stuff. But
Right.
they buy the one up. I know that person wishes that was the real Star Wars cabinet. So like I think he goes through that same thing where he's like, man, I just want this to be a real MK cabinet next to it, but it's not. And
Yeah.
that's when I think he sells it.
Uh-huh.
And then he realizes, man, I don't really want to lug a gigantic real MK up the stairs. That would be a complete giant pain in the ass. So and then he buys the one up version again.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to get into the psychology of why he does things, but maybe I'm way off. I don't know.
No, I think you might be close. I mean, it's just speculating, but I think you might be close. I mean, the thing is too though, he has like that Bobby Vu MK cab, which is like really cool. So I'm always like, you have that and Fightcade, and he's still. I think he just likes to look at them. I think that's what it is. He loves MK. He just wants to get him, look at him, play with him a little bit, and then he's over it. He just needs to get that like out of him.
But sometimes you don't get that. Like sometimes it's like, I don't know. I think sometimes when you're into collecting or you're so into like the fandom of something,
Mm-hmm.
nothing will make you happy sometimes. Like I don't know.
There's
Like you would
definitely
imagine
truth
if like I
to
could
that.
snap my fingers and the original cast of Mortal Kombat would be like frozen in stone in Zohar's living room. Like would he actually be happy then? The original cast exactly they were, they young. Like I don't even know if that would make him happy. You know what I mean? I think when you're so deep into a fandom, sometimes
Yeah, you never.
there is no
You'll never
you're
quench
never
that
fully
thirst.
satisfied. Yeah. All right. He says, I think One Up has a purpose. It helps it helps us gauge whether or not someone is on. What? No, come on. That's not fair. All right. I'm not. I don't. All right.
But
Anyways, he said, so One Up does its purpose.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. Okay. He's trying to say that One Up cabinets can gauge whether or not you're autistic or not. I don't think that's actually accurate. So we'll just move on from that. And I'm sorry to anybody that actually is autistic.
but
like I'm
thank
gonna get
thank you
canceled for that comment,
thank you
but-
for the super chat though.
Yeah, thank you so hard.
But
Anyways,
maybe he just meant like the color spectrum, like the pyramid, like the
I don't
Pink
think that's what he
Floyd.
meant.
Pink Floyd, like you go in, white and then you come out a rainbow.
Sure, that's what he meant.
Yeah,
You're right. That's
I
what
knew
he
it.
meant.
See?
Good call.
Oh my God. Okay. Wait. What did I?
I got like 15 minutes left because I promised Kim I would be done at like a certain time. So
my
I know
God.
where.
Is she watching right now? I'm sorry, Kim.
I don't know if she is actually, but she wants me to. It's warm enough to go in the pool, and she's like, "Are you gonna blow up my pool float?" Because it's like one of those ones that like you have to use a freaking like industrial pump to blow it up,
Oh, yeah.
she'd be down there for like 6 hours.
Oh, okay. So 15 minutes. I had something else. Oh, I won't go into this, but next time I have you on, we have to talk about Polybius and like the ideological influence that it may have had on the entire video game industry. Like not even whether or not it existed, but the purpose of it and like how it could have influenced like actual games in the arcades, like later on down the roads, et cetera, et cetera. It's just this like theory.
That'd be a fun topic because
Yeah.
I've watched so many like that I don't know, it's years ago I got into like that. Like I feel like I come and go with that whole thing, but I was so curious like what's MK Ultra? And then I did watch like a million videos on MK Ultra, and that gets really weird when you start going down the path of that because that
Oh yeah.
I mean for all intents and purposes was a real thing. So
it was real. I mean, like you can go
Yeah.
on the CIA's website and see declassed documents all about it
yeah,
now.
it's crazy.
So it is.
Yeah,
it
let's
is
save
pretty
that one
nuts.
because I feel like we could talk for an hour or more on that one.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, that was one of the cliff notes that I had. So how has Kim been with like the Moonwalker and the fast? What did she say about the fast?
Not much. I was kind of like, she just kind of looked at it and was like, "That's cool," but she remembers sometimes the stuff I've owned, so she's like, "You've had
Okay.
that before."
Okay, yeah.
Or I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah," but she actually, once she saw it in the garage, she's like, "Oh, that's cool. That'll be fun." So she like changes her tune pretty quick. But she did remind me that I kind of talked about maybe not bringing in anything else new.
Yeah.
So, but I really do like, I'm gonna sell some stuff that I never thought I would sell from the garage collection stuff.
I just think
Pretty
I
soon.
think it's
So
cool
I
that
am.
like that you guys have like that kind of flow with each other where she's like that supportive of your hobby, because I see a lot of guys talking about like, oh yeah, I ordered this but can't tell the wife it's coming, like, oh, wife's gonna be at work so I'm getting it. I took the day off work and I'm having it delivered like at this time. I see a lot of
No,
like funny
she's
stuff
cool with
about
it,
that.
yeah.
So I think I just think it's cool. Like, and I, said that earlier, like jokingly, like I think it's cool that she just is very supportive of like all the stuff that you do in that space. So
I mean, and we talk about usually around, at least for the past like 3 or so years or so, we'll talk about like in the beginning of the year, I'll say like, these are the conferences I'm going to go to. This is when, because I am very like, I mean, I don't want to be away from home all the time to do this. And plus I travel for work now again. So it's like, so I tell her like, hey, Southern Fried Gaming Expo in Atlanta's, this will be the 3rd year. So I like have to go to, I love that show. And Pinball Expo, those are like my definites. And then I've been trying to slim that down too. Cause I am very like aware of, hey, I don't, it is a hobby and it's a passion, but I don't want to take in so much time away. But she's always super supportive of it. As I am for things that she just recently got her spin certification. So I'm like,
Oh,
that was a
nice.
long journey. It was like a year-long journey. Now
Yeah.
she's an actual spin instructor.
that's beast
So
mode.
she's super excited about
spin
that.
spin is beast
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah. So
Have you
she's-
done
she-
have
yeah,
you done spin
she's
before?
super supportive. Well, I actually used to be a spin instructor for a short period of time.
Shut up.
So, yeah, but I think I've said it on a live stream forever ago, but I actually have like I went to LA to go to the spinning program because I was going to do it through 24 Hour Fitness, and they 24 Hour at that time, at least, you had to be spinning certified, which is a different, like, it's completely different. She does cycle bar, which is completely different. They're like rhythm based, so everything is like she's got to
okay.
analyze beats per minute of songs and stuff. It's a completely different workout.
It's like
But
scientific.
yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. Like she's sitting there, she has this app where she like counts the beats per minute, and like it takes it's a lot more work than I thought it would be. But anyway, yeah, I don't talk about that very much, but the card is obviously expired because it was a long time ago. I lived in California at the time, so we're talking
Oh, you
like
better not be giving any illegal sessions out there, Ralph.
over 12 years ago. I mean, it was over that. It was probably like 15 years ago now.
You get people on that prop cycle arcade machine and you're like, all right, here we go. Ready? 3, 2.
Here's how you know how long ago it was. TRX was really popular then. Do you know TRX?
Yeah. I
Like,
remember that.
TRX
I
was
remember
a
that.
big
And they
deal
used to
then.
sell those packets, the TRX packets, remember? They'd come with like
Yeah.
the cables in them and stuff. Well, because that was when I was still in the military, and they would like give boxes and boxes of these TRX kits to like the companies or whatever, and they'd just be like, here, take a TRX kit. Like everybody's like, what the hell is this? But we take them on deployment with us. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. I'll tell you one quick thing about that real fast. So I was very into TRX too. I used to travel with it, and there was this thing you could it was basically like a band, but you take, it wasn't a band, it was like a, I don't know, a strap. And on the other side of the strap was this like kind of like high density, almost metal material. And you'd put it over the door, and then you'd close the door and put the strap through so you could use any door. Well, I brought it, like I was very into it, but I remember I was traveling, and I brought it to a hotel, and I broke the freaking hotel room door because it like snapped a whole piece of wood. It was like a
my
shitty,
God.
it wasn't a good hotel.
Wait,
it was
wait,
like
wait.
a pretty,
After you broke it, did you like look in the mirror and go like,
No, no, trust me, no. I was like, oh shit, and I'm like, what do I even say? And it became this whole thing where like they were like, well, you need to pay for the door. I was like, what does a freaking door cost? I mean, clearly it's not a great door. It ripped apart. Like I used to use it at my house and it worked, but it ripped. It didn't like destroy the whole door, but it definitely like chunked a big huge piece out of the door, and I almost like really hurt myself at the same
Oh
time. But
my
anyway,
God.
it's just stupid. All right, let's move on from that. This is so dumb.
Okay, wait. I think Stringer wants you to read this one in the voice in the high pitched voice.
Gosh, okay.
Oh no! I just jumped in the pool and I can't find my privates.
Yes, thank you, Stringer. Oh my God. Okay. Well, are you doing okay? Before you get off, I want to give
Yeah.
you like just a second to like plug anything cool or anything that you might have upcoming. But are we going to be seeing like a full on video about Moonwalker?
Yeah, but here's the thing. So I felt so when I got Moonwalker, I told myself I only had so it was starting. I know Stringer's in the chat, so he's gonna give me so much crap for this. It's finally at the point where it's really hot here, right? Like
Yeah,
I know you
yeah.
live kind of a little bit more inland, so
We're
you're
getting
probably
close.
getting warm.
We're getting close.
Yeah, so I was like, I gotta bang this thing out fast, and I felt like I could do it over a weekend. Like I could pretty much do it over a weekend and still like not be completely absent from the family.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, there's no way I can do it over the weekend and film the whole thing. I didn't film any of it. So I'm going to do a video of it and like explain what I did, but I did not film anything. But that's the fastest I've ever done a restoration because I didn't have to film it. Filming it takes so damn long. Like
I
it
think
just slows
yeah,
everything down.
I agree. It does. It's difficult, especially when you're like passionately into it, you know. Like with my Z-back, it was very difficult to film that, but
I mean, think about how much time you spent sanding that damn thing,
Oh
and
my
like
God.
it's like it just takes a long time.
No joke.
So.
Each side was like almost 9 hours on each side. But what was I gonna say? Well, thank you for the super chat real quick from Zohar. Did the door say tastemakers on the side in reference to your broken door?
It didn't, but that would be really funny if it did.
What I was going to say is what would be cool if you do or whenever you do get around to the Moonwalker video is just the history of that game and that cabinet, what makes it different, because it's a Dynamo cab, right?
Yeah.
With that custom control deck, the 3-player control deck, and just like showing the artwork and everything, because I just think it's one of those like really iconic cabs. And it's like you always say less is more, and I'm kind of like in line with that too. And that's one of the really cool things about that cab is it's not like littered with a bunch of stuff. Everything is like on there. It's very clean cut, the artwork's very cool. You got the little signature. So I think it would be really cool to do like kind of a historical
I got the
video
topper.
on
It
it.
came in the mail.
Really?
I got the topper. It's a reproduction topper. It's not there. I don't even know if I'm sure someone somewhere has a real one in some garage or warehouse or whatever.
Yeah.
But the other thing that makes it unique. So look out when you start looking at arcade cabinets. Actually, Nick Madsen found this, and I was like, oh man, he saw someone. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't a Moonwalker, obviously. It was something in an HS5 cabinet, right? It just looked. But I was like, he noticed it. I didn't even catch it. He's like, dude, this must have been a Moonwalker. And I was like, why do you keep saying that? And because the control panel wasn't right, everything. He's like, look at the coin door. I can't think of any other kit games that would have been put in there with that 3-player coin door.
Right.
So I'm like, it must have been. And so like if you're someone out there looking to buy a Moonwalker and don't want to spend the crazy price, like look around when you see these Dynamo cabs. You might find yourself a converted Moonwalker that you could convert back, because that's what mine was. Mine was converted to sharpshooter. It was a shooting game. It had gun mounts.
How did you get the control deck though? Because that control deck is not like a common thing that you're just like, I need a Moonwalker control deck.
So this person who did this conversion, if you notice where you know how like on the Dynamo cabs, those HS5s, you have like slide in the control panel.
Yeah.
there's a piece of this is different from a normal one. There's like a piece of metal that comes across the top and then it kind of bows on each side. It's like got like diagonal cuts. And then the control panel wood is mounted on top of it.
Right.
So there was a guy there's a guy that was selling a repro already cut wood panel for it. So all I had to really do is take the sharpshooter control panel off and put the obviously I had to get the artwork, but he routed it and everything. All the holes were good. So like, thank God for that, because I probably would have farmed that out anyway, because that's not usually my skill set is not woodworking. That's usually I can do the Bondo and the sand, but when it comes to like cutting new panels, not really my thing. Yeah. Maybe
Wow.
one day.
That's cool. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, like that's interesting how like everything kind of fell into place as far as like you being able to put that thing back together. So I'm looking forward to seeing that video anyways. But if you have anything that you want to plug real quick or talk about, like, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so this is neat. I'm gonna probably talk about it on a live stream that. So you've probably seen that. I don't know if you saw it, but that, Doc Mack at Galloping Ghost has been working on that Dark Presence game forever. Like, it's been like 28 years or something, and I've gotten pretty friendly with the producers of that movie. Like, I was in Chicago, and we had kind of messaged back and forth, because after I did like the video promoting it, he's like, "Oh, we really liked it. Everyone here liked it." And so when I happened to be in town, I was like, "Hey, can we like get together or something while I'm here?" And so I went to their studio. It's called Year of the Phoenix Productions, the people that are doing that movie. And it was really cool. So like we were talking about, kind of what my plans are for creating content. And I was like, yeah, I still like doing the YouTube videos, but I've always kind of thought of wanting to do more produced stuff. So we're kind of like in conversations of maybe like try to figure out how to do a little bit more produced content. So that's kind of cool. I don't know what that's going to amount to. It might be nothing. It might just be I built a really good friendship with his name's Craig.
Yeah.
And his I think I can't remember if they're engaged or not. Lydia, I don't remember if they're engaged or in a relationship, but Lydia also works for the company. They're very cool people. And it was neat meeting them, because they gave me some of the behind the scenes, like some of the stuff about like Doc in general. Like, I'm like, what, like, cause Doc is like this mysterious guy, and I always want to know a little bit more about him. So like, obviously he shared what he could, but he's just an interesting guy, like,
that's
crazy
cool.
story. So, and then of course, other than that, I'm just kind of like, this summer I'll probably lay low on the restoration stuff, because it just gets too hot. And honestly, I know Stringer busts my balls and always says I should put a mini split in my garage, but that doesn't actually help me with restorations, because I don't have like, my garage isn't split into an area where I could sand and not affect everything else on the other side. You know what I mean? So like, I don't have a painting and sanding station. So even if I had AC in there, it doesn't necessarily allow me to do restoration work. Because imagine like your garage, right? You don't have it split, so you have like a paint station and like you know what I mean, like a sawdust vacuum.
Yeah. Oh my God,
so,
I made such a mess with that Z-back.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this summer I'll probably just we got a couple shows I'm going to, but I don't really have anything I guess officially to plug at the moment. It's more of just I'll continue my normal content through the summer, and then I get to see. We're gonna go down to. You should try to go to some shows sometime, but we're gonna go to Southern Fried Gaming Expo, whatever the heck month that is. That's always a good time. But yeah, I'm just trying to more enjoy things right now versus like being so obsessed with always uploading content, because I feel like that's its own topic altogether.
Yeah. that would also be another good topic for a show. But cool, yeah. So thank you so much.
What about you? What do you got going on?
Oh,
you have the arcade. Your series.
Well,
we're all waiting for episode 3.
Yeah, Arcade Legends. So episode 3. I mean, speaking of like produced content, like I'm along the lines of like, I really think it would be cool, and now would be the time to do some like more produced content, like as far as like kind of something like Chasing Nostalgia, like Arcade Hunters or something, like a show where you go and like find like really rare arcades, or like hidey holes of like cool arcade stuff. Like I think it would be really cool to do like a produced show like that, and team up, have like 2 or 3 people that go around looking for these places and these machines, and or like, intermittently having like, oh, we did this restore project, or look at what we got for like $100. Like I think it would be really cool to do like a Netflix level show like that kind of, or something that would be on like Amazon maybe. But
Yeah.
anyways, so Arcade Legends, episode 3. I really want episode 3 to be good, and I've kind of like had my ups and downs, like just in the last 2 months. Like it's just been kind of hectic, and not
Yeah.
really,
Life happens, right?
yeah, not really so much like YouTube stuff, but just life stuff. And the only YouTube aspect I think is just that there was like this really negative kind of like connotation or vibe that was like going with the space for a little bit. So I kind of like just wanted to step away from there, just because it was like a daily reminder of like just the annoyingness that was going on. So, anyways, coming back from that with like a little bit more of a fresh mindset and stepping into what episode 3 is going to be about has kind of been my focus over the last week and a half. And I'm actually supposed to do some filming over the next week for that to get back on it. So I'm hoping that I will have episode 3 out in, what are we in, May? June. Yeah, like towards the middle or end of June, hopefully. So
That's cool.
I'm looking forward
How
to
many
that.
episodes do you think it's going to be? Do you have that in your mind? Like how
Yeah,
many episodes it's going to be?
I was shooting for 6 episodes.
Okay.
So 6 episodes.
By the way, if you change your mind on anything along the way and you wanted to record new content for it, like I know I'm game for it. And I would imagine and like the other people that have been a part of it would be too. Like if you said, "Oh man, like it'd be cool if I wish I captured this or that," because I know you had like your series, like you asked us a lot of things, which were awesome questions. But like I'm always open to recording new things if you ever feel like you need it.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. And if I do come up with anything that's kind of like outside of the line of questioning that I'd already asked, I'll definitely hit you up for that. But yeah, I mean, so I'll give you like a little bit of insight into it.
Yeah.
Episode 3 is going to be it's going to be focused on like different aspects of arcades, like modern. And then it's also going to talk about like consoles. So like what our favorite consoles were and compare like the arcade to console experience. And then with a little bit of like modern arcade stuff thrown in there, kind of like it's not going to be 2 parts, but like there's 2 parts to it, if that makes sense. And those are kind of like the 2 parts. And then of course, like I'm trying to do something like really epic and cool with the intro. So
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I know that it's clearly you put a lot of time into it. So it's like, it's kind of cool. I like it because it's like the one other, like there aren't that many people that do arcade specific content with higher production values. Like there just isn't that many people, like it's a very small list. So it's cool. I'm excited for it. But there's one other thing I wanted to tell you that there was this really cool story. We'll have to save it for another time. But last time I was at Galloping Ghost, I was playing that Contra Evolution, which was basically like, it was a phone game. It was like a cell phone game, but Konami made, I guess, like, I don't know the exact amount. I'll just say it was like less than 50. They made like less than 50 of these cabinets that were like dedicated, but the game wasn't the cell phone game. It had elements of the cell phone game, but it was made for coin op. It was supposed to be a coin op version that would go to arcades.
mm-hmm.
And Doc has it in Galloping Ghost. I played it. I was like, man, this is really cool because it's basically the same game. It's even like it's slightly improved versions of the same songs and just slightly improved graphics of the same game. So it doesn't feel like you're playing like this, when someone tries to remake something, it's like kind of completely different.
Right.
And I don't know if it's real, but if it is, I did buy it and I don't know if it's bootleg or not, but I was able to find and I don't know if it's the real one, but I was able to find the PCB that supposedly is the PCB for Contra Evolution, and supposedly there's only like 50 of these. So I don't know. It could be complete bullshit, but it's coming from like China or something. It could be a knockoff, but I'm excited about that because
that's cool.
That's kind of neat, if it is the real one. And I've been trying to get a hold of the doc to say, hey, can you open up the back of the cabinet so I can verify? But I didn't even wait. I just bought it because I saw it for sale and I was like, crap, I should just buy this without even. It's one of those like. Yeah. Anyways,
that's
so
cool.
I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I am too. I'm excited to see if it really is real. And Stringer says, thank you for the super chat. Step in front of my lens if you want to go to Netflix.
Nice.
But yeah, cool. So anyways, thank you all for joining us. It was really, really great to have you. Oh man, let's just answer this real quick. We got real quick. And thank you for the super chat, Bear from South Carolina. Are you excited about SF6? I am.
I am. I want to wait till. So the reason why I'm not playing it right now is because I wouldn't dare try to enter the beta and play with other like competitive players because I'd probably just get my ass kicked. So I'm looking forward because when does it go live for everyone? Isn't it like next week?
I think so.
Yeah, I am excited for it actually because I played
June 2nd.
Yeah, I played 4 a lot. I didn't play 5 as much, but 4 I built a cab from, even though I used 5 artwork. I don't know what the hell I was thinking when I did that, but I built a arcade 1-up Street Fighter 4, but it used Street Fighter 5's artwork. And that was another one. That was actually that wasn't real. So I thought I was buying a Street Fighter 4 original arcade board, which there was original arcade boards for that, but it ended up being a China knockoff. But it was all coin op. It was coin op. It was JAMA. It was it was basically like a ripoff.
So it was like a clone,
one, but it was all original like game code. They just hacked it into this like I don't know. They probably I'm assuming they bought a real one and then like you said they cloned it and then they just figured out how to run it on like whatever hardware they wanted. But it came in like a cool case. It came like it looked legit, but I ended up finding out later it was complete bullshit. But that was kind of cool. I wish I still had that board. I sold it to a guy who he owns an arcade in town, and he had one of those. Actually, Zohar, if he's still here, is going to like lose his mind, actually. He took a Run and Gun 2. I don't know if you've ever seen the cabinet for Run and Gun 2. It's like it's this huge cabinet that's kind of got like 2 sides to it. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he turned that into a Street Fighter 4 like versus cab.
Oh, okay. The actual SF4 cabs were like these giant, like
giant candy cab things, right? They were like huge.
It was like all like decorative and like plastic and lights and stuff. I mean, they were just like a big. They were very they were like a showpiece almost. I mean, they were just very big, and they had like it was
so
like
Ragman.
You had like 2 separate pedestals to play on.
Yeah, they had one actually at my work they had one at our Utah office. It was cool. Like it's exactly what you're saying. I had like a huge topper, and it was really neat. I guess it starts June 1st.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's answering.
Well, Steam is June 1st, but I think June 2nd is everything else. I don't know. I'm excited about it. It's one of the first Street Fighters I've been excited about. I think since 4 I was like. It was cool, but I think I was in the military at that time, so I didn't have as much focus on it. But it's one of the first ones that I actually feel pretty excited for since I think like 3 came out. So
yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be cool. I'm a little less excited about. Well, let's save that for another time. I would love to have a conversation on. I have very strong feelings on, and not that I don't like it, not that I'm not excited, but I didn't really play MK11 much. I made a cabinet for it, and then I kind of just like, I just find that a lot of the modern games got really hard to play. Like they were more difficult. Now they're all instituting the same thing that SF6 is doing, like the 1-button specials and stuff. But
right.
I do have some strong opinions on Mortal Kombat, the trailer from what I've seen, but not negative necessarily. But like it's so unpopular probably that I don't want to say it. I built a tweet that I was gonna publish and I didn't do it because I was like, people are gonna shit all over me for my opinion. It's not negative, it just makes me sound like a dad. Like I sound like a dad. I was like, I'm not, and I am a dad, but I was like, I'm not gonna send this because everyone will crucify me.
Now
but I have some
I'm very interested.
Strong opinions.
Yeah, now I'm very interested.
We'll have to maybe we could just do a stream where we just talk about like the launch of that game and do like a little bit of a trailer reaction to it, because I'd love to hear. Maybe we'll keep it short, but I'd love to hear your opinion of it and my opinion of it, because there's not a lot to go on, but it still would be fun to just kind of like talk about it, I think.
Yeah. I'm definitely down. I'm definitely down. Okay, so I've kept you over. Thank you so much for joining today, and everybody else, thank you for the super chats and for hanging out and all the good conversation in the chat. Appreciate you, Ralph. And if you guys,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I don't know who wouldn't follow you that's like in this space right now, but anyways, you guys all know Ralph. He's awesome. If you're not subscribed to his channel for some reason, like, what are you doing? What have you been doing? That's all right. Until next time, I'll see you guys then.
Well,